This is More to Say with Randy Naughton. Interesting conversations with interesting people. We welcome you into another edition of More to Say with Randy Naughton. Yeah, that TV lady who spent 30 years on the air who has now retired? I don't think so. I have more to say, hence the name of this podcast. And it, of course, is interesting conversations with interesting people. We've got authors, entertainers, sports figures, you name it. I just think interesting people with an interesting story to tell. And we do want to thank all of you for following along on social media and subscribing. We appreciate it. And of course, we couldn't do it without our sponsors. They are the Lemp Mansion in St. Louis, one of the most haunted places in all of North America. If you're looking for an event and a meal, a cool, fun thing to do with your buds, grab everybody, go to lempmansion.com and find out about all their great events they've got coming up. Also, Team Jakey. It's a family. They lost their loved one to suicide. So they started a nonprofit to hopefully end the stigma of mental illness, and they do a lot of really great events all throughout town. So thanks to Team Jakey. And of course, my podcast partner, Logan Janis, who not only helps put this episode together and make it look great every time we do it, but he is also the co-host of the Mostly Superheroes podcast. So he is that. And of course, one of our other podcast partners, Tremont Wynn, who is helping in the background get things going for us as well. So today we're talking about the business world, and I may have left the workforce a few years ago. I left my regular job at TV and I entered the podcast space and the voiceover space and doing what I want to space, which is really a nice place to be. And it's kind of like the path that our next guest has taken, but she's kind of is helping others along the way based on what she did. We would like to welcome Sharon Fiehler. She is an author and she wrote the book called ABC to CEO. She wrote the book on how women, especially in business, can climb that corporate ladder and yes, make it to the CEO status. And she also has a nonprofit called abctoceo.org, which we'll talk about as well. Sharon, thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Randy. I'm flattered to be here, and what an opportunity to be able to share this with you. Over the years, I've watched you and seen you, and this is great. So thank you.
Yeah, we're not retired, are we, Sharon?
We're not retired. There is no such thing as retirement. There's just doing more and more fun things as we go along.
More things we want to do. Now, let's first of all talk about your background. And, your book, ABC to CEO, is a bestseller on Amazon. You can get it everywhere. And it's basically to help women in the business world. I want to talk about the differences between men and women in the business world. First of all, what do you know about it? Let us know about your background.
Well, I was with Peabody Energy for 33 years. When I left about 10 years ago, I left as the Chief Administrative Officer, reporting into the CEO. So it's a position that's referred to as a C-suite position.
Right.
And was in that role for about 10 years, I guess, or thereabouts. And I loved it, had a great career. I also was fortunate enough to be part of the St. Louis Federal Reserve, and I chaired that board for my last year that I was part of that board. So that was also an interesting opportunity. I've had many things throughout my career that led me to great, wonderful things, but I didn't get to one seat, and that was the CEO seat.
Do you regret that?
I don't think I was properly trained to ever be CEO, particularly of the company I was with, but I do regret not having that seed planted for me to possibly be a CEO someplace. And that's really what I'm all about at this point in my life. I'm about helping young women understand that becoming a CEO is a possibility for them and not realize that when you get into your 50s, whoa, I wish I would have thought of that, because guess what? It's probably too late.
Yeah, it's probably too late. And let's be honest, being a CEO in a Fortune 500 company or a major corporation, it's a man's world. What is the percentage of men versus a male versus female as far as that position in the corporate workspace?
Well, if you're looking at publicly traded companies, about 8% are run by women. So we have 92% of Fortune 500 companies publicly traded who are run by women, run by men, and the other 8% are women. So you can see that there's not a lot of balance there. I'm not looking for balance. I'm looking for women to get the right experience, to get the right training so that they can be considered for this role. And not only considered, but for them to understand if it's something they want. In the end, it's all about your career and what do you want. But having options is what I'm all about. And unless you think about this option at an early age, it may never really be an option for you.
So, one thing I found to be very interesting in some of the notes that I looked at in preparing for our discussion today was you've been offered a promotion, not so fast. Don't accept it so fast if you're a woman in business. What does that mean?
That means that not all promotions are equal as far as getting to the very top. Um, you can look at in a corporation, normally you've got jobs that are considered operations jobs and sales jobs and product development. And then you've got support jobs that are beyond that that help those people. And I looked at many other opportunities throughout the years, and I was given those opportunities, but they were always support roles. So that means information technology, it means human resources, it means supply chain management, it means a lot of accounting positions. But operations, where the product or service is made or where it is created, or your interaction with your ultimate buyer, your customer, those are the roles that are very important roles that take you to the CEO position. And without those roles in your repertoire, you're never, a board of directors is not going to consider somebody with my background because I was always a support person.
Right.
Um, Great support jobs, and quite honestly, I love them. But if I was thinking about becoming a CEO, I needed to make a change to go to kind of the other side of the fence, so to speak.
So it's a mindset in today's business world where, let's be honest, I think women are conditioned to think, I could never make it that far because the promotions that are coming their way or the pay raises that are coming their way are mainly in those support roles. So your objective is to change that mindset, right?
Absolutely. And women are as talented, as ambitious as men. This has nothing to do with it. This just has There's just been a history over the years where women get directed to the support roles and men get directed to the operating and sales kinds of roles. Uh, but my position right now is twofold. I want companies to think about, don't be just putting the women into the support roles. And quite honestly, don't put men only in the operating sales roles. A good CEO has a balance of both of those roles that they've had in their career. Almost every CEO I know spent some time in some of the what they call staff functions, support functions. And I think they're better CEOs because they were kind of on both sides of the
Yeah.
equation.
So are companies getting it? Do they get it? Are they getting there?
This is something that one of my theories is the ripple effect. And the ripple effect is, as you know, if you throw something in the water, you get all the
Right.
ripples. My position is, as more women become CEOs, the ripple effect of them looking at how you fill positions changes. Because for them to be CEO, they came up. I have no doubt every CEO, every female CEO had some operations or some sales or some real product development. Coming totally up from the support side is almost non-existent. So as we get more women in the CEO role, I do believe having them as role models, first of all, is a huge plus
Yeah.
for other women, but also I think they will be a little bit more inclined to think about putting women into roles that they came through.
But let's be honest, and I'm not waving the feminist flag. There's still the whole side of, uh, I guess, sexism and misogyny. Yes, it still exists in the business world. Yes, we still hear about it. Um, sure, there are HR departments in place, mainly run by women, that try to tamp that down and help women advance. But is that also an obstacle, do you think? And women think that, well, I couldn't possibly go that route because of these obstacles.
Well, I don't disagree that those obstacles are there, but
Yeah.
that's why I'm also a proponent on the other side of this equation is we're responsible for ourselves.
Yeah.
I was responsible for my career, and I think everybody needs to take responsibility for their own career. That's why my position is to now educate women on don't let this happen to you. You take the driver's seat here. If if the promotion being offered to you is yet another staff role, you say, now wait, and maybe you should be saying this before it even comes to that. I want some roles on the other side of the equation here. I want a role in operations or product development or in sales because that is what opens doors for you. And someday, maybe you don't want the CEO job. I'm not saying women
Yeah.
should take this, but it's an option. Don't close that door. And until women take control of their career and are proactive in telling the company, telling their boss, telling individuals who are their promoters, their supporters, letting HR know these are the kind of roles I want. So keep me in mind as the opportunities are out there.
I mentor a lot of young journalists and media people and things like that. And one thing, they say, I want to be on TV. I want to do this and I want to do that. But I was just offered a radio job and I don't want to work in radio. I want to be seen. I want to be on TV. And I said, the more you can do, the more you will do down the road. It looks great on your resume. And I think a couple of them have taken that radio job and it's was a catalyst to something more, the step they wanted to take. I think that applies in business as well, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. The more opportunities that are presented to you and you take advantage of, the greater your chances of moving up. But at the same time, not all opportunities are created equal. At some point in your career, you need to really understand if moving up that corporate ladder or moving up the ladder, wherever it may be, is what you're desiring to do. Look at the path of people who've made it.
Yeah.
How did they get there? Um, I have in my book one of the CEOs I know quite well. He was on this track of engineering and he was in operations and he was supervising the production aspect. He was on that path.
Kind of
And,
everywhere. Yeah.
and suddenly the company said to him, we're going to move you into public and government relations. And he was like, what? And he's thinking, what did I do wrong? Nothing. It's just in order to be balanced, it is that you've got to be on both sides of the fence here when it comes to different departments.
It
And
doesn't hurt to have your hands in all the cookie jars, right?
a really good way to look at it. And I think you become a better leader with all of these different kinds of experiences because you can identify with people. My definition of leadership, true leadership, is look behind you and see who's following. It shouldn't be people following you just because they're getting a paycheck. They're following you because they trust you that you're going to take them and the company to a better place.
Hi, everyone. It's Randy Naughton from the More to Say podcast with another sponsor shout out. When is the last time you've been to the Lemp Mansion in St. Louis? Did you know it is one of the most haunted places in all of North America with an incredible history? It's a beautiful building, first of all, and they've got so many events. When's the last time you've been there? They've got boozy bingo, holiday brunches, events like weddings and parties, a scavenger hunt, overnight stays, if you dare, Spirit with the Spirit tours, and their legendary all-you-can-eat family-style fried chicken dinners on Sundays. It's amazing. So listen, check it out on their website at lempmansion.com. We thank them for supporting our More to Say podcast, and I'll see you at the Lemp. Rise energy strips. And you're like, Rise, I've seen those, I've heard of those. RIIZE, and the chief medical officer with Rise Health Strips, with the energy strips. And this is Dr. Joe Molesky. And you're like, I know that guy. And he's going to tell us all about it.
Thanks for having me, Randy. Really, what Rise is, or riseup.com, we are a supplement company, but we're different because we provide a different method of delivery. And that method of delivery is a strip. So I'm sure you guys heard of like the Listerine strip or the breast strips, that we put other vitamins and nutrients inside there, like B12, energy. We make it reasonably priced compared to some of the pill versions, or just figure out how much a Starbucks coffee or an energy drink costs. I mean, those are $5-6 a piece. So we make it reasonable, we make it convenient, we make it for you.
It is RIIZE, riseup.com, if you want to get in on this latest craze in supplement delivery system. It's under the tongue. It dissolves in moments, works in minutes. So you want to maybe check that out to see which one might work for you, for whatever you'd like to help or correct. Dr. Joe Molesky, I thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Rise up.
Hi, everyone. It's Randy Naughton from the More to Say podcast. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast over the tons of episodes we've done so far. Somebody I want to shout out specifically to is an organization called Team Jakey. They are one of the sponsors of the More to Say podcast, and I couldn't be more grateful to be partnering with them. What is Team Jakey? Well, this family, the Zeller family, knows all too well what it's like to lose somebody to suicide. So that happened to them. Their beloved Jake took his own life. And what they want to do, they've set out on a quest to end the stigma of mental illness. So Team Jakey puts together all these amazing community events year round to help raise the awareness and prevent suicide and end the stigma of mental illness. So we would love it if you followed them on Facebook, Team Jakey and the Stigma. And of course, thank you for supporting the More to Say podcast as well. Team Jakey is one of our partners, and we are so happy to have them on board. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the podcast.
Now you're hearing from us over here on the podcast, Mostly Superheroes. I'm your host, Logan Janis.
Arena Andy. Scotty Scoop.
Sam the Sleeper.
And we're bringing you all the things in St. Louis and beyond, from events and interviews,
sports and movies, comics and games,
to community and news.
All the things that you need to stay informed, have a little fun. It's all happening at mostlysuperheroes.com, and we'll see you there.
Hi, Randy Naughton here, along with Dr. Joseph Molesky, to tell you about St. Louis Medical Weight Loss. You heard about those weight loss shots? Well, I battle high blood pressure, cholesterol, and prediabetes, so I decided to invest in my health.
Visit stlmedweightloss.com or give us a call.
So if there's somebody listening or watching this, a woman in business who might be in one of those support roles that you mentioned, and we're at the time of the year where people are going in for their mid-year reviews for major corporations, is that something they should express during something like that? So it's on record with HR and your superiors so they know this is the trajectory I want to take.
Right. And you should, first of all, one of the other things that I really feel strongly about, that I didn't have a real good support system when it came to my own personal board of directors, I call it. So you need to have somebody who's a mentor, and maybe it's more than one mentor. Maybe it's a mentor who knows your business, but maybe you also have a mentor who understands opportunities. You need people who are promoters and supporters, and what those are. When companies sit down, these senior people sit down and do talent reviews, which often a good company will do multiple times a year. You want people in those meetings to say, I know Randy. I know what she's capable of. We need to move her into operations, and we need to do it soon. You get people who see what you've done, and maybe you've worked on a project with them, and they say, once again, I want Randy on that project with me because I know she's going to do a great job. So you need to have people who understand your talents, who understand your desires. And yes, it's important to talk to HR, but it's more important for the senior leaders to really understand what your goals are. You can't just sit there and expect them to do it for you.
Understood. Okay. In a radio interview that we did together not too long ago, one thing you said really stood out to me where it was a wow moment where you said when there's a woman in business, women ask for a raise, men ask for promotions.
My story
Similar.
was similar to that. Yes, this is not just a story. This is reality. Having started in HR and had talent management as one of my teams, I had a lot of young people who would come to talk to me and talk about wanting to get ahead. In their 20s, women and men ask the same questions. Basically, what do I need to do to get ahead? What do I need to do to get promoted? But something very interesting happened in the next 5 to 10 years of those same people's career. They would come talk to me again, and some of these would be formal conversations, some are casual. And the women would continue to say, what do I need to do to get promoted? I want to take that next level. And they've been promoted. What can I do to get promoted? Interesting. The men started asking, what do I need to do to become head of that division?
They ask for specifics.
They asked for specifics and they had high sights in their mind. They weren't just thinking of the next promotion. They were thinking, what's my goal here? One of my goals is how do I get to the top, not just a promotion. So what I found with women, again, they're very ambitious. They want to get ahead, but they're not thinking big enough for themselves. Now, is that because they don't see the role models there of other women? I can't answer that. I hope that as more women are on the top, they do have more role models. But I also think women tend to have less confidence in what they're capable of doing. There's been some studies that many of us are familiar with. If there's a job opening, and this has been researched, a lot of men will raise their hand for the job, even if they can only maybe do a very small part of it. Women will wait to raise their hand until they think they can do the whole job and be successful.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting to me.
It is. So this has to do with confidence.
Yeah.
And women, as we participate in more sports, I think we've got a lot more confidence as we participate in a lot more activities, clubs and organizations, and actually take leadership roles in them. I think it boosts confidence. But confidence is something that I believe this generation, the young generation, has a lot more than my generation. But I still would have to say, I think we're a little bit behind the male counterparts the same age.
And that's why you chose to write the book, ABC to CEO, to help guide women in business to that particular path, to the CEO chair. So talk about what motivated you to write the book. And I want to know what your favorite part of it is.
When I became post-career, which is my word for when I left and kind of retired, but I really didn't retire, the first thing I asked myself is, okay, what do I want to do now? And I reversed that question. I asked myself, what did I not do that I wish I would have done? And the very first thing that came to my mind was I never led an organization. I led teams, but there's a huge difference, even in the C-suite, between all of us who might be chief administrative officer, chief financial, chief operating officer. We all do have some power of influence, but that chief executive officer, that is where the buck stops. And that is the person who makes decisions that impact customers, impact employees, impact the company culture. This is where it gets done. This is the person who really makes the decisions. I never was that person, and I really wished I had taken on that role someplace. So I decided I don't want other women to be 60 years old and get to that point and say, wow, I wish I would have thought of that. Mm-hmm. My goal in writing this book is to plant a seed. And that seed is think about CEO. And here's many things to consider. And even if you decide not to do it, you will be a better leader because of everything that I have put into this book. And you ask about my favorite part of the book.
Yeah.
I would say in aggregate, my favorite part is all of the comments that I've got through other podcasts that I've done on preparing for the Possibility podcast from many, many women and their careers. And some of them are young women and how they got there, and some of them are women that are more mature and they can speak about experiences. I love reading the advice from all of these women and men that I've done podcasts with. That's my favorite part.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then from the book, it splintered off into abc2ceo.org, which is a nonprofit organization. Tell us what that is all about. Do you have like a group of members? Do you get together for conventions? How does that work?
Well, actually, abc to ceo.org was first.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes, I became a nonprofit organization about 6 years ago. And so we're a 501c3, and we look for donations because our mission is preparing young women for this possibility, teaching them about how to become a better leader, teaching them about, when you come into meetings, how do you effectively interact? We have done webinars with women in finance. We do a lot of social media. You can find us at ABC to CEO on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on
Is it on X, Instagram, all that good stuff?
Instagram, all of those.
Yeah.
So we constantly have postings. So that was actually first because I felt that many young women use social media for a lot of their education. After a number of years and having all of this out there, we decided, let's take all of this information we've collected. We've done all these podcasts, have all of this advice. We've created a lot of our materials, and I decided it's time to write a book. So that came second. So who are we? I have a lead consultant who I call head of my operations. Her name is Beth Chesterton. And Beth and I really run this organization. We now have 5 education modules that we are getting ready to, we produce them. We're getting ready now to figure out how we're going to introduce them to young women along with the book. We love doing webinars. We love doing podcasts. And our biggest need right now is financial support.
Right.
But because we are a non-for-profit organization, it is tax deductible. But at the same time, the real mission is young women.
So with that said, and we are winding down, but with that said, I want you to leave us, it doesn't have to be women in business, just women in the workforce in general. What is the one bit of advice that you can give women in the workforce, whether they're looking to improve in their current vocation, looking to move to a different type of career, or looking to take those next steps toward the CEO and to the CEO? Resume, CV, what is the one thing they can do this week that will improve their chances for that promotion, for those steps and that recognition?
I would say the best thing is to become the pilot of your career. You need to decide what are the next several moves out there that I want to make in order to make my career as successful as it can be and that I want it to be. Don't let happenstance be what guides your career. You need to study what's next for you, what is it you want to learn, what roles you want to take on, and you need to be proactive in making that happen. Don't become somebody who is waiting for somebody to promote you. You take the wheel and you make it happen.
Yeah, and I think your advice of look at those who are in that successful seat, look at their trajectory, where they get you, for example, where you came, but even you, even as you were very successful in your career, even you say, I wish I would have this, or I wish I would have that. And it's a matter of kind of looking at the people around you who are successful and you say, what was their trajectory? Not necessarily that you have to mirror it exactly, but at least you get an idea of how they got there.
Exactly. So don't wait for others to guide your career. You take control of it. You decide where you want to go and you make every effort to make these moves happen.
All right, ladies, women in business, if you're looking to do what Sharon did and what so many other women have done, the book is called ABC to CEO. It is a bestseller on Amazon. They've got webinars. They've got all kinds of things. Go to abc2ceo.org for more information. The book is available on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and other major retailers worldwide. So I appreciate you joining me today. I love your insight. I love your explanations. We've just kind of redone our careers. We're not really working in our main job anymore. We're just kind of doing something different. And I love what I'm doing. So it's a good thing to be.
I love what I'm doing and what you're doing and what I'm doing. I mean, we are really, I think, trying to help women and help others come to a better place in their life. And it makes you feel good.
100%. So thank you for joining me today. I so appreciate your expertise and insight. And thanks to all of you for joining us as well. Hopefully you learned something today. That'd be awesome. And of course, to all of our sponsors, the Lemp Mansion in St. Louis, lempmansion.com, Team Jakey, hoping to end the stigma of mental illness. And of course, our podcast partner, Logan Janis, who helps put it all together for us and is the co-host of the Mostly Superheroes podcast. Thanks for joining us today on More to Say with Randy Naughton. Until next time.
This has been More to Say with Randy Naughton. Interesting conversations with interesting people. Be sure to like or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.